boys, we're loading up in Lana this morning. Had to take my car to go get an oil change. Sorry for the shadow. But yeah, Riley's going to get an oil change today, and I gotta go work in the truck. So we're gonna go ahead, head to the dealership, go ahead and get there, knock the shift out, and then we'll go ahead and get right back into the Miata. All right, boys. So at the end of the last episode, y'all kind of figured out, or I kind of told y'all what was going on. And so yeah, so I'm about to just go ahead, throw up the montage of me pulling it out. I'm probably just gonna try and pull out the whole, just the motor. I don't know if I'm gonna do the transmission as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and get to pulling them both back out. And yeah, so I'm about to go ahead and get to work. All right, we got to the shop, and this is how we are starting the video. Now, most of y'all are probably confused as of what is going on, so I'm gonna try my best to explain it. So I went ahead, pulled the motor back out of the car, and I know a lot of you are probably wondering why the hell I took it back out, and it's because I fucked up. I'll be completely honest, I'll throw it out there. I made very crucial mistakes that I never should have made. I knew better than making those mistakes. But honestly, I was wanting to just go ahead and get this build done and get it back on the road. And I skipped a lot of steps. So the first one being is I didn't even measure my cap bearings, my main bearings, or my rod bearings. I measured my piston ring, my ring gaps. I measured those, but that's the only thing I measured. I just stuck this motor back together. Now the second thing is I didn't get new crank bolts, which is another big no-no. The third thing, they didn't get new head bolts. That's another big no-no, but we'll get into that later. Now, with these being the old torque to yield main cap bolts, they could be stretched, which could be throwing my torque specs off. Now, with that being said, I could have over torqued these bolts, which is why in the future this ends up being so hard to turn. Now, if you know anything about building engines, you would know that, or if you know anything about engines at all, you know this crank should never be this hard to turn. Now, like I said, I fucked up and I made big mistakes, and I reused these bolts, and I possibly could have over torqued these bolts. Now, factory spec calls for 45, or for 40. Factory spec calls for 40. I put 45 on here, but with these being the old torque to yield bolts and then being stretched, I could have in fact over torqued these bolts, not even meaning to. Well, I mean, clearly I did because I put it to 45. But anyway, to get to the cut the story short, these bolts could be over torqued, and my piston cap bolts could possibly be over torqued. Now, I'm going to go ahead and order these bolts. So I'm going to go ahead and order these. I'm going to order head bolts, but the studs with the pistons, they're okay. Now, the reason I'm going to be reusing those is, one, if I didn't, I'd have to replace the whole rod. And I'm just kind of over it at this point. Now, if we have a rod failure in the future, then, you know, we're going to be able to be like, yeah, Hayden, you screwed up. This is on you. You didn't replace the rod bolts. So I'm going to take full responsibility of that down the future. You heard me say it here. But I am going to go ahead and get the main cap bolts. They're going to be ordered, and I'll give you an ETA on those in the next video. Now, to kind of go ahead and try and diagnose this issue, I'm going to go ahead and remove these pistons. I'm going to take the pistons all the way out. Now, with that, I can go one or two different ways. I could then try and see if the crank is still very difficult to turn. And if it is, then I know it had nothing to do with the pistons, and it's the main caps or the main bearings. Now, if I remove the pistons and the crank is easy to turn, and I know it's something to do with the pistons, and I know either the piston caps were too tight, or it's something to do with my ring gaps, or it could be the pre-lube I used. So we have a very big problem here, and we have a lot of causes that it could be. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to quit talking about it. I'm going to go ahead and pull these pistons out, and then once we get them pulled out, then I'll update you guys on what we find. So we got the pistons taken out and everything. Let me just take a look in these cylinders real quick. Now the cylinders, for the most part, look just like they did when I put them in. And there's still plenty of pre-lube in there, so I'm not worried about any of that causing our issue. But off camera, I went ahead and turned the crank, and now, I mean, that's almost effortless, you know. Before, it was nothing like that. I mean, I'm literally just sitting here like this, It's still a little more snug than I'd like, but it also could be the new bearings that are in it. Or, like I was talking about earlier, it could be those main caps being a little over torqued because the torque varying because of the stretched bolts. Now, whenever we get our new bolts, we will put them side by side and compare, but you might not even be able to tell with your eye. You kind of have to put it on a real precision or real precise measuring tool. I ain't got none of that, so I'm not gonna worry about that too much. But I do want to go over here and take a look at these pistons. So I'm gonna go over there, get the light set up, and we're gonna go over there and look at the pistons and make sure the bearings for the pistons aren't messed up or anything like that. All right, we're here at the pistons, and I've got them all kind of set out here. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how I laid out the cylinders here, so you don't get confused. I only shot this clip once, so I know what they look like. But that was a cricket in the background. Now, cylinder 1 is not horrible. You could probably reuse that bearing, but I mean, if you're rebuilding the engine, you know, you don't want to just go ahead and shove that back in there. Cylinder 1 there. Here's cylinder 2. Cylinder 2 is actually fine. You could definitely reuse cylinder 2. Wait, maybe not. Never mind. You cannot reuse cylinder 2. That one's messed up as well. There's that one. Quick look at that one. Here's cylinder 3. This is the worst of the set. I'm not quite sure why cylinder 3 is messed up, but I mean, literally the car didn't even run. But cylinder 3 has definitely screwed. So we're definitely gonna be getting a new set of main bearings. Yeah, you can tell there, cylinder 3. I mean, I don't know if you can hear my fingernail getting caught there, but cylinder 3 is definitely screwed. Caught it. Cylinder 4, you could reuse cylinder 4. Cylinder 4 is not bad. It's got this little scratch here, which you could probably just look right over that and not have any problems for a while. But I'm just gonna go ahead and replace them all. That one, same thing. A little scratch there, nothing to worry about. But with cylinder 3 looking like this, I would say I didn't clean it well enough. I would definitely say I didn't clean the cylinder, not the cylinder, the crank, I reckon. I guess I didn't clean that well enough. And I guess I need to go check my crank actually. So let me go set us up over there and check the crank. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start looking at cylinder 1 here. Cylinder 1 was not our concern, but I'm gonna check all of them. Now cylinder 1 feels fine. Nothing abnormal there. And we're gonna go ahead and check cylinder 4, which is right here. Let me get this in the shot. So cylinder 4, also fine. Nothing feels out of whack there. Sorry, it's a cricket making all this racket. Now we're gonna check 2 and 3, which was our more damaged areas. More damaged of the bearings. So you can definitely see the discoloration there. So this one's more of a polished look almost. This one almost like a dull look. I would definitely say that's from the bearing, but nothing really, well, maybe. I guess, I don't know if y'all can see that there. This is just kind of what I'm looking at here. It doesn't really, I mean, there's definitely something there. I don't know, I'll have to get a better opinion at that, but I definitely didn't notice that until now. I don't know if that's something that has just come up or something that has been there, but I would definitely say that is not good. You might could go over that with some sandpaper and get that out. I'm not sure though. I'll definitely have to get some pictures and send it to some of the guys at work and see what they think. But as far as cylinder 2 goes, cylinder 2 looks fine. It's just cylinder 3 that I'm mainly concerned about. Now, I'm not quite sure how that's gonna go. Not quite sure I'll be able to reuse this crank now, which is very, very, very unfortunate, because if we cannot, then we will literally be back in the exact same boat that we were in before we started. So everything I posted here recently could be for nothing. All right, so to go ahead and close out the video, I'm not the happiest at this point, but I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. Mistakes happen, you know. Hopefully this is a good learning opportunity for you guys and myself. One, to be very precise when you're doing motor work. Two, always make sure your surfaces are 100% clean, because clearly I did not. And now we have to replace the main bearings in a motor that literally has not ran. As comical as that is, that's a very big mistake. But you know, things happen. I'm gonna get piston rings too, probably. I'm probably just gonna buy another kit and just do it all again. So yeah, that's it. I don't have much more for you guys in this one. A lot of bad news has come in the last 2 videos, so I'm just gonna go ahead and end that there. Whenever we put this one back together though, we will know for sure that there's nothing else wrong with this one. So, well, watch me say that and blow it up as soon as we go drive it. Wouldn't that be something? But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the main cap bolts ordered. The head bolts are gonna be ordered, and then the bearing, or not the bearings, the oh yeah, the bearings. The bearings are gonna get ordered. So we are gonna order those as well. I might as well just go ahead and get main bearings as well. Back to standard size, which is what I ordered, but that is what I'm gonna order again, because I'm not gonna machine, well, unless I have to machine the crank. Damn, well, I'm gonna wait for the bearings. I'm gonna wait to order the bearings, but I am gonna get the caps, the cap bolts and the head bolts. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, because I know I did. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good one.